I would continually get more and more comfortable each time I was out there. And then finally, when I got into games, like continually seeing live pitching day in and day out, I just continued to get more comfortable. But honestly, above all else, I just had a ton of fun.
All right, welcome back. It's another episode of the Obstructed View Baseball Podcast presented by Beyond the Monster. I'm your host, Chris Henrik, and I'm joined by both Jamie Gatlin and the host of To the Show We Go, Andrew Parker. Before we get into the episode, I just want to make sure that everybody checks out the latest podcast available by both Ed Hand and Andrew. To the Show We Go is available on Spotify and on YouTube. Just this past week alone, Red Sox pitching prospects Shea Sprague, Max Carlson, and Adam Bates were guests. All of those are live and available. You can check those out. And one last thing, head over to beyondthemonster.com. Well, it's not beyondthemonster.substack.com, rather. Check out all the baseball content, including Ed Hand's free agent tracker. Currently has 700 MLB free agents, and that'll increase to 300 as the offseason rolls on. It's pretty impressive what he put together over the course of the season. That just dropped this past Thursday. But today we have a guest on the show. We have Red Sox infield prospect Justin Riemer. If you're unfamiliar with Justin, he was drafted in 2003, fourth round, 4C pick, number 133 overall. He was a Nathan Eovaldi comp pick. Justin, what's going on?
How you guys doing? Thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah, I mean, we're already into the off season. You've been, you just said to us off the air that you just got back from the complex. Just kind of what's your off season looking like so far? What have you been up to basically?
So far, I've been down here for a lot of it. I was able to go home, spend some time with family after the season. But a couple weeks after the season ended up in Greenville, I reported down here to Fort Myers to the spring training complex and been working with the guys down here. Except for our week break for the hurricane, we've been getting after it down here, and it's been great down here. Being around the coaches like this on a daily basis and being around the hitting staff and the defensive staff and strength conditioning guys, it's been great development so far, and I'm very grateful to be down here with these guys right now.
I know when Andrew was recording earlier in the week, I forgot what player it was. It might have been Shea, kind of asking about, what was it like just kind of, getting out of the state for like when you guys had the hurricane and getting back home. Was it wild and crazy to get out, or was it just easy? The Sox get you guys out of there early?
The Sox were getting people out. We got a pretty good heads up for it, but I actually hung through it down here with me and my girlfriend, posted up in my apartment and hung through it. We got thankfully decently spared. It wasn't too bad down by us. We only lost power for a little bit, but me and her decided to ride it out down here.
I lived in Tampa last year, so I know hurricane season well. It was very 50-50. People either going on the beach or hunkering down. So I bet you saw some interesting stuff those days.
Yes, definitely. It was quite the adventure going to all the different stores, just trying to find necessities. And I was maybe like a couple hours late to like all of the stores. And even in those couple hours, like shelves were wiped. And I was like, okay, I got to go somewhere else now.
What was your first year like, just, getting some games at FCL and also with Greenville too?
It was amazing. I couldn't have asked for a better first year, honestly. Just the experience that I was able to have, being in the FCL with these guys, making a lot of those relationships I still have because a lot of them are still down here. Arias, Cespedes, all of them, just like hard workers and great guys, and being able to like establish that relationship with them and play alongside them was a lot of fun. For those 2 weeks that I was down here in the FCL, and then going to Greenville was everything I could have ever wanted in my first professional season. It's an amazing atmosphere up there, amazing community, amazing town, and just like everything about that league, but especially the team. It was an amazing couple months, and I'm very grateful for it.
I did want to ask you about obviously the grind coming back from that torn ACL. It was a long process for you. It finally all paid off this year once you did get up to Greenville. What were the feelings like when you did step back into that batter's box for the first time, and just after like a week or so, and you're just like, okay, I'm doing this again, and I'm back doing what I love doing?
It was a surreal feeling at first, like even going back to like my first live ABs, like being in there against another pitcher and competing. Like from day one of those, it was just like a surreal feeling, and then it was just like I would continually get more and more comfortable each time I was out there, and then finally when I got into games, like continually seeing live pitching day in and day out, I just continued to get more comfortable. But honestly, above all else, I just had a ton of fun just like being able to just play again. Like I think we touched on it a little bit on the last time I was on, but just the appreciation that the rehab process gave me for the game, and just like it really brought like that to like the forefront of my mind of just like appreciation for being able to play day in and day out, like something that I love doing, which is more than anything else, which is playing.
How long did that take you after you did get back to just fully trust it again? Like I know a lot of guys that get Tommy John, I've heard them say it's like, it was weird, like trying to throw like 97, 98 miles per hour again and fully trust that this thing's like good to go. So did you have anything like that for your example?
Thankfully, by the time I started playing, I don't think so. The rehab team here did an amazing job helping me out, and like both on the physical and mental side of things, like preparing me for it and just preparing me to like get back into games. And they did an amazing, diligent job to make sure I was ready. And the confidence from them and the confidence from myself and everybody that supported me, like helped me once I was in games. Honestly, like at that point I had trusted it fully. So thankfully I was able to trust it right away, but it was a long process to get there, but it was worth it in the end.
What were some of the I know it's a small sample size. You only got into 28 games in Greenville. But what were your kind of like your first takeaways from pro ball? Like what kind of adjustments did you have to make to, the schedule's a little different than college. Obviously you're playing teams 6 games a week and you have an off day every Monday, and in the traveling's a little different. So what kind of things did you have to adjust to? And I guess, what did you notice about pro ball that was different?
I think one of the biggest things for me when it comes to like something like that is I always go back to like a recovery routine. Like that was something that was really big for me. I really like kind of got into the groove of like being on top of my recovery, being on top of my sleep, being on top of how I'm eating and fueling my body, those types of things. Like I feel like during my rehab, that helped a lot. Like I was kind of getting on top of it and learning more about myself and learning more about ways to fuel my body and ways that I can feel better for the next day. And all of those things I learned during that rehab and during my rehab assignment, I kind of just took those and brought them to Greenville with me and kind of played around with them until I really found a good like recovery routine and like day in, day out, week in, week out routine, and like different places, plug different things in. And at the end of the day, it was really just like nailing down that recovery routine was something that I needed to do. And thankfully I realized that I needed to do it pretty quickly. So it definitely helped.
What are some ways the Red Sox have helped you improve your game and just build on it since, from draft day just to where you are now?
Oh man, everything. I mean, it started obviously for the first year or so, a little over a year with the rehab guys, like everything that they did for me. Obviously they helped me get back on the field. So I have to shout them out for sure. And then just honestly on every side of the game, defensively, we have great guys down here in Fort Myers who I spent a lot of time with. Pablo, who's our infield guy, I spent a lot of time with him, and he's helped me tremendously with a lot of different stuff, first step stuff, glove work stuff, routine stuff with him especially. He's helped me a ton with that. And then on the offensive side of stuff, everyone, all the coordinators, John, Oach, all of them have really helped me a ton with like kind of honing in my game. But on top of that, like the bat speed programs and like things like that have just like taken my development to a level that I didn't think I was able to get it to. And they've just done a great job, like continually pushing me on that aspect. And I think that's going to help, and it already has helped. And I think it's going to continue to help. And then all the coaches up at Greenville, they were all great. JP, the hitting guy, Snap, another hitting guy, Iggy, our manager, they all were amazing in developing like helping me just kind of like settle in and then develop me in my first season of pro ball and like make me feel comfortable, but also just like day in and day out, like coming up to me and like asking me if I need anything or asking me like how they can help or anything like that. It was just like great environments everywhere.
You had just kind of talked a little about just like the bat speed piece. I wanted to kind of jump into that because right now, like a massive focus with Red Sox fans is the development of the pitching program. And as the Red Sox are developing a pitching pipeline, which is not something that the organization has really ever had. But I do think that as the focus is getting strictly on pitching, we don't want to lose sight of, there's a lot of really good positional players. Obviously you, Mikey Romero, Nazan, still get the big four. I mean, there's other players that we can go through the entire list of prospects, but what are some of like the metrics that the Red Sox coaching staff is having you guys really hone in on to get you to grow at the plate and as just part of your continued development?
Yeah, they do a great job at like we have our focuses, like we have our individual focuses, and then we have our like philosophy focuses that I think really they hammer in well, and it's something that has helped all of us. I think everyone on the hitting side would agree with that. And it's like our bat speed program, like you had brought up, like we were doing bat speed program at least a couple times a week, even at the affiliates we're doing those, and just being able to like know that like they have a lot of ways to break down like how we're performing and statistics in game, statistics in our training, and a lot of that analytical stuff is able to show us exactly like how we're improving or like what we need to work on. I think like the specificity of like what they like come to us with, like the numbers that they come to us with, and like our exit velo stuff, our bat speed velo stuff, like they are always recording that for us, and they're always like sharing that information with us. And I think beyond all else, like their communication with us just consistently throughout all of our training is the biggest piece of the development right now for us.
I don't know if this is accurate, but I did just look at your stats from this year. Did you stole 8 bases this year?
Is that right? I think it's 8. I always forget the number. It was something like that.
Okay. I did see that was the highest. Like you didn't even, I think the highest you stole at Wright State was 7, like in a season.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's kind of impressive coming back and already having your speed be a factor after recovering from a knee injury. Is that going forward, I guess, into like next season, or is that something that you're like, I would love to keep this train going and have that be part of my game?
Definitely. It's just like another thing I can put in my back pocket, like another piece of another tool that I can use to help my team win in any way that I can. Like just trying to be the all-around player, help in any way I can, defensively, offensively. It's just another tool for me. And I was able to, with a lot of help from the guys here, I was able to show that off a little bit. And this year, and definitely looking to build on that. We've been working on a lot of speed training, and definitely looking to build on that next year and continue that.
And in college, you at Wright State, you were kind of known for a guy that had really good bat to ball skills. You made a ton of contact, didn't strike out a whole lot. And then obviously you come back from the rehab, very short sample. So did you have enough time though to in your 28 games that you did play? Did you have enough time to kind of see like, okay, like it's different. It's a lot different from college. The pitchers obviously are a little better than college in the competition you were facing. Did you kind of like have at least somewhat of a chance in your small sample size to be like, okay, I saw what these guys were throwing to me, what they were doing. I have to adjust by doing this next year or something like that. Did you have any takeaways like from your season this year? Be like, I'm going to take that into a full season in 25.
Specific things I wouldn't really say if I did or not. Obviously, like the being able to go there and play the 28 games, like taking every single ounce of information about my performance from those games and applying it to this offseason training is the biggest key out of all of them for sure. And I think at the end of the day, like it's just a development in every way and shape that I can, whether that's bat speed, bat to ball, drills, things like that, just anything to develop my game to continually continuing to push my development as a hitter and continue to be a well-rounded hitter and being able to adjust to a lot of different pitchers and different scenarios and things like that. I think overall, like you said, the pitchers are 100% better than college pitchers. They're great pitchers, especially in that league. There was a lot of really good pitching. And I think at the end of the day, it's just like, what can I do this offseason to better every aspect of my offensive game? And so far that we've been doing they've been helping me out a lot with that down here.
What were some of your takeaways from sharing a lineup with some other guys that came in out of the draft as well? So you had like the Zach Earhards and the Will Turners that came in, but I don't know how much you overlapped with some of the guys that went up to Portland with Just Dixon and Mikey. I don't know how much you overlapped with them, if any, but what was it like, I guess, just seeing like all the other guys that you shared a lineup with and you finally had a chance to kind of see them in person and just be like, okay, like these guys are kind of pushing me a little bit?
100%. It was amazing. I knew Mikey a little bit. We were down in Fort Myers together for a little bit last year. So we already knew each other, which was good. And sharing the lineup with him was amazing. Was able to pick his mind a lot. He's obviously got a lot more professional games under his belt than I do. So I was able to pick his mind super early on in Greenville. And I'm super thankful for him and super thankful for kind of his slight mentorship, almost like bringing me into my first year of pro ball, which was really helpful. So I'm really grateful to him for that. And he's got an extremely mature approach and extremely mature approach to honestly everything that he does. And so being able to like pick his mind about different things and like day in, day out stuff and in-game stuff, everything, he was a great influence on me. And then sharing the lineup with like Justin, Castro, Gonzo, and then we had Will, Zach, Framey up and down, Lugo, Rosie, Lyra, all those guys. Like I loved it day in and day out. Like the nine guys that we put out there it was always a great group, and we would always have great energy and build off of each other really well. And I enjoyed it every game.
Was that your first time ever being in Greenville?
That was my first time in Greenville. Yeah.
All right. So you had the luxury of skipping Salem. I don't know if you heard any of the guys ever come up and be like, wow, Greenville is not like Salem, or Salem was not like Greenville, but what would you say your takeaways were, I guess, even off the field? Because Greenville is low key one of my favorite small towns in America.
Oh, I could not agree more. That was something that I said the first day that I stepped in Greenville, like especially the part of the west end where the stadium is and where we were staying is such a great part of town. It's like so walkable, great community aspect. I feel like it's just like it's got the small town feel, but it's still like you see something new like each time you go out or something like that. So honestly, I loved Greenville so much. That was something that we would always talk about, is like that city is so perfect in so many ways. It's a great city. We all loved it, and I had a great time there for sure. So it's definitely someplace that I'll be going back.
Well, Chris, I'm hogging it here. Chris, Jamie, what do we got? You got anything right now? I think Jamie's froze. Oh boy. All right. So I'm going to keep the train rolling then. Okay. So I wanted to ask a little. Yeah, I got you now.
All right. Sorry. My audio dropped a quick second.
Okay. Jamie just went out. We have some technical difficulties going on over here. Justin, stand by.
All good.
But going into your first spring training as a healthy individual as in the Red Sox system, I am curious, what are you looking forward to the most this offseason? Now that you are fully back, you should be 100% good to go. You haven't had that in a year, I guess 2 years. So what are you looking forward to the most of a fully healthy spring training?
Everything, honestly. As someone like I went to at least I think 3 or 4 spring training trips down here in Florida when I was younger, like I don't know, 8, 9, 10, somewhere around there. I definitely came down here for a couple spring trainings and like always was running around the backfield and like watching the games whenever I could as a little kid. So just like being able to like come down here for spring training and experience like the day in day out and like the games and the practices with the full team out on the fields and like the environment of it all, having everyone in the organization all in one place at one time and being able to actually this time around being able to be there and actually participate in all the drills and practices and the, like I said, the day in day out games and like everything about it. I'm just really excited for that whole experience, and it's something I'm looking forward to for sure.
Do you have a favorite spring training stadium?
Favorite spring training stadium? I gotta say Dibley Park, honestly. Even when I was younger, I'll tell you guys, I had a little story when I was younger, came over to the Red Sox. I forget. I think we started in like the era where the Nats used to be. And then we like kind of made our way down. I think we stopped at like Lakeland. It was me and my mom. And then we stopped at like Lakeland. And then we made our way down to Fort Myers. And I immediately fell in love with the Red Sox complex for some reason. My mom attributes it to some like mac and cheese hot dog that I had at the stadium or something like that. That's what she attributes it to. But I remember that it was probably my favorite on that trip.
I went to most of the Grapefruit League ones last year, and I think probably Fenway or Toronto were my two top ones.
I haven't been to Toronto yet, but I have heard that's a nice one.
Are you looking forward to the possibility of having to travel around on the bus rides across Florida, possibly this next spring training?
Definitely looking forward to that and seeing the different facilities. I was able to experience a couple of those during the FCL. We were, let's see which ones I think we went to Orioles, Braves, and Pirates while I was with those guys with the FCL, and that was a ton of fun seeing those stadiums. Some of those stadiums are gorgeous as well, and yeah, really excited for that and and seeing more of the facilities I haven't seen yet.
Well, while we're on the topic of Fort Myers, I have to ask, because you were technically considered part of the injured group, but I know it's a lot of pitchers down there, especially pitchers recovering from TJ. Mm-hmm. And I caught up with our guy, Zach Bryant, whenever when he got up to Portland after he came back. And he was kind of talking about, he's like, yeah, like we were doing like opposite hand bowling league and we were doing putt-putt golf and we were doing all this. Did they allow you to like partake in that?
Oh yeah, I was there for all of those. The putt tour, the mini golf tour that we did was a lot of fun. We did the Masters at the end and everything. Had a trophy ceremony. It was a great time. It's a great group of guys. And then the offhand bowling, I was there for a decent amount of those. That was interesting. It was funny to watch us all get slightly better at offhand bowling, even though I still felt super awkward doing it. But yeah, it was such a great group of guys down here, especially me being one of the younger guys here and like being surrounded by those older guys who like, one, like we had a great time like outside of the complex, but like two, and almost more importantly, like just the way they go about their business at the complex and the way they do everything at the complex and are so diligent, like being able to like be in the shadow of those guys a little bit and kind of like be close to them and be able to talk to them at the complex and obviously have a great time at some of those activities outside. It was a great group, and it was something that I won't forget for those couple months in the summer here.
Did you have Oh, sorry. I was going to follow up, and I'll let you go, Jamie. Did you have an advantage because you didn't have like a broken elbow or anything? Like, were you did you like have just like that slight advantage, being like, all right, I can still use my arms; they're totally good.
I hope I didn't, because I was in the bowling. I was never good compared to those guys. I'm gonna say that I didn't, but now that you say it, maybe I did a little bit. But I don't know. I was bad at the offhand bowling. I was getting my butt kicked a little bit around in offhand bowling. So I'm gonna answer that as no, I didn't have an advantage. It was a fair field.
Who had the best mini putt game?
Who won? Broadway won the whole tour, I'm pretty sure. And I think second place was Wyatt Mills. I think Millsy was second. Yeah, I think I put it between those two though. They were consistently two of the best during those that like I don't know, it must have been a month and a half of us playing putt putt, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'll throw myself in there too. I held my own.
Are you a golf guy or?
Yeah, I am a golf guy, so that helped a little bit on the putt putt course for sure.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say if in regards to the bowling league, did Taylor Broadway make it known that his dad was a professional bowler?
I don't think I even knew that, so no.
Okay.
I might have missed this in conversation at some point, but no, I did not know that. That's impressive, and he was definitely one of the better ones. It was like him. Fulmer was always good. Walt was always good. So yeah, that makes sense. So I think he had more of an advantage than me, if I'm going to be honest.
Okay, yeah, because I forgot what it was. I looked it up one time, but his dad like was actually, like who Pete Weber is, the guy that's in all the viral clips. Like his dad like faced off against him like back in the the 90s or something.
I'll have to ask him about that. That's a funny little tidbit.
Yeah, like his dad was like a legit bowler, so it's
that's
like
crazy. I'll definitely have to ask.
I didn't know if he like slipped that to you guys, and it was just like, oh yeah, in this bowling league, like I have some experience. It's in the blood, but
right.
Okay. Chris, you go ahead.
No, I was going to get into some random questions in a minute, but before we do that, I'll actually kick it back to Jamie because you froze up for a little bit, so I wasn't sure if you were going to try to ask something during your freeze up.
I did not know my Wi-Fi wasn't working. It was more of like your favorite stadium, but we already covered that with spring training, so I got that question out of the way.
All right. We'll kind of slide into some random questions, get away from baseball a little bit. Actually, not going to get away from baseball. This is going to be somewhat baseball related, but you were talking a lot about Greenville before, and then doing some trips around Florida with the teams. But when you're on the road, though, between games, do you get the opportunity to kind of explore some of the cities that you're in?
A little bit, yes, definitely. Let's see some of the ones that we visited: Winston-Salem, Aberdeen. Some of those cities, we were lucky enough to be posted up near a decent amount of stuff, so we would always try to get out and explore whenever we could. I was thankful to have my mom alongside for a lot of those away trips. So if I ever saw something that I definitely wanted to go see in one of those cities, I would ask her. But I knew Aberdeen pretty well. Being a DMV guy, I knew Aberdeen pretty well, so that was cool going back there. But yeah, definitely it's always fun going to those away stadiums and just seeing the areas that are there and seeing the communities that they have there. It's always a fun experience.
Any of those cities that you got a chance to maybe eat in outside of like some of the stuff the Red Sox would provide to you? Any unique foods you might have had on the road during any one of those trips?
Let's see. Did I have any unique food? Okay. The first one that pops to mind was I don't even know exactly how we got them, but we were in Aberdeen, and at one of the games, it just happened to be my off day. At one of the games, Iggy was given like this huge box of, I believe it was Puerto Rican empanadas, and I had empanadas before, but Iggy had said like, no, these are different. So I was like, okay, I have to try one then. So I tried it, and that was amazing. Like that was probably definitely one of the best empanadas I've ever had, and definitely was a memorable one. That was the first one that came to mind, at least.
When one of my first jobs, and I don't know how I would have messed this up, but I worked at Chili's, and the empanadas and the fajitas were right next to each other in the system. Mm-hmm. And one of my first shifts, I messed up pretty big. So if you ordered empanadas, you got fajitas, and if you got fajitas, you got empanadas.
Oh no!
Yeah, there was food just going everywhere. And then they're finally like, "What's the deal?" I'm like, "I was just fat fingering, guys. I'm sorry." Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. Are you like do you like a coffee drinker? Do you do stuff like, what's your, do you have like a guilty pleasure when it comes to like food, when you get an opportunity to maybe kind of, have a little bit of a cheat in between working out and stuff like that?
Definitely a big coffee guy. I'll definitely get coffee on pretty much every road trip. I'll try to find like a local coffee shop or something like that. I always loved the little local coffee shops, especially like started in Greenville. Like I loved our local coffee shop that we had there on the corner. Beck's always had that good coffee. And then guilty pleasures. It was tough with the games. It was tough to get some good food before or after the games. But even if it was especially if it was an early game, I would try to get something like that I hadn't seen before, that I hadn't tried before. That's maybe local or something like that for like a late dinner or something like that.
What kind of shows you've been watching lately? What would you recommend that you like lately?
Oh, what shows have I been watching recently? Been rewatching Modern Family. That's always been a good comfort show for me. What other good shows have I been watching? Watched through Breaking Bad again. Amazing show. There's got to be one more that I've been watching a lot recently. I can't think of any more at the moment. I hate to admit it, but I've been rewatching old shows I've been watching, and I hate that because I need to watch more new shows. So if you guys have any recommendations, please shoot them over because I need somebody to tell me to watch a show and then I'll watch it.
I'm gonna be honest, man. There's Netflix and Apple TV have been spot on recently.
Apple's been pretty good. Netflix been good. The Perfect Couple is pretty good. It's only 6 episodes. It's like 45 minutes, maybe like 45, 50 minutes. I wish it would have been a 9 episode like season. It was really, really good.
Is that one a Netflix or an Apple?
That one's Netflix.
Okay.
That one's Netflix. That was pretty good.
Are you a Vince Vaughn guy?
Vince Vaughn? Yeah.
All right. Bad Monkey on Apple TV. Fantastic.
I haven't heard of that.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah. Is it a series or a show? Is it a series?
Show. It's like there's like 10 episodes out. Season 1 just wrapped up, so it's brand new. It just came out this year. I highly recommend that one. It's like a murder mystery type show.
Oh, awesome. Okay, yeah.
He's like a cop. He's a detective in Florida, so it's kind of cool. I like it.
That's cool. Yeah, that definitely will go on the list. This is what I need. I just need new shows. I need shows, so I stopped watching the same 4 or 5 shows over and over again.
Are you a superhero guy? The Bad Boys, whatever that show's called?
Oh, Boys. I watched like the first 2 seasons of it, and it was really entertaining. I liked it, but I just never got into like the second half of the second season or the more recent seasons. I know my brother likes it a lot, so I might have to start that back up. But first season's great.
Last year when you recorded with Andrew and Ed, you had mentioned that Trey Turner was one of the players you kind of looked up to because you followed the Nats when you were growing up. Have you gotten a chance to watch The Turnaround that's on Netflix? It's a 30-minute documentary on him.
I heard that came out. I have not yet. That's definitely something that I remember. Thank you for reminding me because I did see that and I wanted to watch that because that was a cool story. So definitely gonna watch that one.
Yeah, with the it's a pretty good. It's a good balance. Like I mean, you get like obviously he struggled and he couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat at the moment. You know what I mean? But then just it's crazy. Like Phillies fans are not exactly always the greatest fan base in the world, and they got behind him, and it seemed to kind of break him out of that. So, and also didn't know that Dick's Sporting Goods was also was like the producer of that film, which
really
was
interesting.
Yeah, they're getting into movies besides sports and all that other stuff that they do. So, but yeah, 30 minutes. It's a quick watch.
No, that's definitely one that I wanted to watch because that's a story that'll always give me goosebumps. That was a pretty cool thing that happened there, and that was pretty cool to watch.
I got 2 questions left.
Good.
And then you can wrap up or whatever. I had a roommate question because we had Matt Duffy on yesterday, and then we also had Will Turner on this week as well. And it kind of came up twice. So Matt Duffy right now in his residence, he's got Noah Dean, Blake Wehunt, Hayden Mullins, and I am forgetting a character.
Connolly
early. Like, just fantastic individuals, right?
Great group.
I'm over here thinking when he's saying this, he's like, these are all the guys that I live with. I'm like, how in the hell do you get anything accomplished when you guys are all in that living room, like after you get back from the complex? And same with Will Turner. He's got Braden Montgomery. He's got D'Angelo. He's got he's got some characters over there as well. Mm-hmm. So what, how's the roommate situation? And even dating back to Greenville and even at the complex now, like, how has it been for you? Or do you have a same experience where it's like it's just a fantastic group in there?
I've been lucky for a couple different reasons. So in Greenville, it was me and Noah Dean, who was a great roommate. Loved that kid, and we had a great time, especially because we got up there around the same time. So it was kind of cool for both of us to kind of like experience it like kind of around the same time. So that was fun. But he was a great roommate. Love that dude. And down here, I'm actually lucky. I have my own apartment down here. I had it pretty much since I got drafted because I kind of knew I was going to be down here a lot, especially that first year, and then decided to end up keeping it for a little bit longer since I knew I was going to be back down here in the fall. So, yeah, it's been pretty much me in my apartment, but the Duffy Connolly and all them houses, it's a great house. I'm with that house decently often, and but it's a good group there, and it's a funny house. It's a great group of guys.
Dude, I can only imagine because they were saying they all play COD together and all this,
yeah.
And Connolly's yelling at the TV half the time, and I'm just like, dude, to be a fly on the wall with
was that Duffy who was saying that Connolly's always saying things?
Oh yeah,
yeah, that's probably who I'm gonna talk to right after this. Is it's those five and me and a search and destroy team a lot of the time. So that's probably what we'll do in a couple hours here.
All right. Well, I got one last question. It's got to be food related. It's not the chicken question. I already asked you last year. You gave me the wrong answer, but you know what? When you passed it,
hey, I made up for it on Twitter. I try to get them to sponsor you. I tried my hardest.
I appreciate that fully. The only two guys I have is Blaze Jordan and Alex Manellis, who are fully Zaxby's guys. But I think Caden Rose. I heard a rumor that Caden Rose loves Zaxby. So I
didn't. I think I knew that.
Okay, so I'm coming for him next, but I do appreciate that. But my question's a little different. This time around, I have a former teammate of yours, Max Carlson, who signed off on this question that said that it tells a lot about somebody based on how they answer this. So be careful.
Oh, shit.
All right, so we're going to take 3 of your fingers on one of your hands, right? And you can dispense a sauce with those 3 fingers. Oh. But those are the only sauces that you can ever have for the rest of your life. You can't have anything else but those 3 sauces. What are you choosing?
Oh, that's tough. Shoot. Put me on the spot.
It's tougher than the chicken question. I'm going to be honest with you.
It's definitely tougher than the chicken question. Okay. I gotta go with the basic one, the one that I use the most often, even though it's boring. Ketchup, definitely ketchup.
Have to.
It's got to be mayo because I kind of do mayo on a lot of like sandwiches and things like that.
It's underrated, man. You can put that on anything.
It is, and I feel like I agree. I feel like it's kind of a staple on sandwiches for me, so I feel like I have to do that. And then I gotta be missing a good one. Oh, I have to go with you guys ever had yum yum sauce from like hibachi places and things like that?
Yeah.
There's it's like the like kind of white yellowish sauce that they put on like fried rice or like anything like that. Gotta do that. That's one of my all-time condiments. So that's gotta be a sauce. So that's definitely a third one. Actually, that should have been my first one, but
okay. I got a couple comments that you might find interesting. One, you were the first guy to say mayo. By the way,
really,
nobody said.
So you were right.
I almost would
it really is
mayo.
Underrated.
But you can put it on anything. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, it goes with anything.
And you can also mix it with the ketchup and make a fry sauce.
I was gonna do the like I don't know what brand it is, but that brand has like the ketchup mayo mix, and I was like I was thinking about doing that, but then I don't know if I would have been able to come up with another sauce that I wanted, so I just did them both separately.
Okay, so you were the only guy to do mayo so far. Matt Duffy also did yum yum sauce, so that's
he really?
2 times I've gotten that. So
That's the boy, head boy.
And you were only the second guy to say ketchup, which is crazy to me. Crazy.
I want to know what these other sauces they're coming up with are.
Dude,
who was the gravy? Who was the gravy one?
So Matt Duffy did chocolate sauce too, which I found very interesting because he's a sweets guy, he said. So he did chocolate sauce as one of them, which that was the only one. I had gravy come up.
Okay.
A lot of Chick-fil-A sauces, a lot of like honey mustard's a good one.
Yeah.
Shea Sprague was the gravy.
Yeah, Shea Sprague said gravy. That was interesting, but all right. Well, I approve of that list, so
I appreciate it. Thank you.
That's all I got there.
Jamie, what do you got?
Do you have a favorite baseball memory, whether it's from your playing days in college or from the minors so far?
Oh, man, there's a lot to choose from. I had a lot of great memories in Greenville. Definitely some just amazing ones from like my first professional game, my first professional hit. Those are amazing memories. So those are definitely up there. College days, winning conference championships, both the years that I played with those guys, will always be a top tier memory. And being able to go and play in an NCAA regional my sophomore year is definitely one that's up there. Being in an environment like that was super awesome. But man, there's a lot to choose from. There's definitely a lot to choose from. But some of the ones at Greenville this year definitely are on the forefront of my mind. So definitely a lot of those key ones, like my first hit and like some of those games at Greenville were just so much fun. So definitely some of those.
All right, my last question. What is the most embarrassing song that you would call your most embarrassing song that's on your playlist right now?
Most embarrassing song. All right, I gotta think about this one because I bet I have quite a few. What's gonna be the worst one? Oh, okay, one that's been... Okay, my girlfriend introduced me to this one, and I unfortunately think it's kind of a good song. It's not a good song. It's an extremely catchy song that like it's a good vibe. It's a can't believe I'm actually saying this on air. It's called Diet Pepsi, and it's by Addison Rae. And I hate so much that it's catchy, and I don't think it's a good song, but it's insanely catchy. She put me on it, and unfortunately, it's kind of a vibe. So that's gonna come up if somebody watches this for sure. So if one of my buddies, if Duffy watches this, he's gonna make a comment about that for sure.
All right. Well, I won't text him or anything, so it's okay.
What I've been doing is I've been pulling a clip from the show, and I'm leading it off before we get the shows going and give the listener an insight. So that was at 42 minutes. So I'll have to make a note of that.
Oh no!
Unfortunately, I'm sure that song's gonna be copyright, so I'm not gonna be able to use it as the background. But we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
That sounds good.
All right, Chris, take us home.
All right, that's all that I have. So that is our latest episode of the Obstructed View Baseball Podcast. Once again, please make sure that you check out all of our podcasts, including To the Show We Go, which is available on both Spotify and YouTube. We really appreciate if you can like and subscribe to both of those shows. You'll get notifications every time a brand new episode is dropping, it's pretty much every single day. Excuse me. One last time, again, head over to beyondthemonster.substack.com. Check out all the content, including the Ed Hand's free agent tracker. Again, really impressive. Is 170 free agents, and he has basically a blurb for every single player. He's going to jump that to 300 as the offseason carries on. We're also going to do a couple of episodes on the free agent tracker. We're going to go a little bit deeper into some of those players. Kind of talk about where they could go, who's the most like overrated free agent this offseason, stuff along those lines. So make sure you check that out. Justin, thank you for taking the time today to record with us, and good luck going into the rest of the offseason.
Thank you guys so much for having me on. I appreciate it a lot.